Hello, welcome back to yet another video. In this one, I'm going to be discussing and breaking down the pound dollar trade, also known as cable. A little fun fact for you guys there that you don't know. So it's just a nickname for it. Anyways, this is the pound dollar trade that I've taken, so let's just jump straight into it. As you can see here, guys, I'm going to give you guys the weekly right down to the 1 minute entry. So make sure you get your notebook out and write down some notes because it's going to be a very valuable video. Now, as you can see here, we got a weekly POI, and this is more so just, I don't really mark every weekly POI here and there. I don't necessarily expect a reaction from it either. It's more so just to mark out for a potential reaction to add confidence to my lower time frame trading, so to speak, right? Anyways, we did react to the weekly POI. We started to shift bearish, but if we just look on the daily time frame, as you can see, we are, yes, inside of a bullish range. So we got this low and we have this high, right? So there's a big bullish range there on the pound dollar in the daily time frame, and that's what price is still currently within. Now, I was anticipating price pulling back, at least into the discounted region of the daily range, right? As you can see here, we got a short-term sell-off, and then we had a pullback into this order block here to the left. And then obviously price had reacted to it very nicely with this wick and engulfing and headed bearish, right? Now when we dropped to the 4 hour time frame, that was the daily was internal structure, right? Now as we dropped to the 4 hour time frame, as you can see, this is where price had mitigated this daily POI. And look what happened when price reacted to it. It just aggressively sold off to the downside, indicating that momentum is pointing to the downside, right? Now, I also sent out this POI as well to the members in the Discord, so if you want to cash trades like this, guys, go ahead and join up the Discord. With that being said, as you can see here, price had mitigated this H4 supply, obviously filling the remaining balance that was left behind, and then obviously aggressively sold off. Now, this is the move that I caught, and I was targeting this 4 hour low, so make sure you remember the 4 hour low, as that's where my target was. I did take partials at the edge low as well. But pretty clean, just, price pulled back into this supply chain, which is now, a valid supply chain because it's had 2 or more mitigations. As you can see, breaking mitigation, another supply mitigation there as well. And the next thing to do is obviously just drop to the 15-minute time frame, in which I did. Then now once we're on the 15-minute time frame, guys, as you can see here, price obviously tapped into it here. We then seen a nice reaction off the POI. Now, I like to look for these impulsive shifts in the markets right off the POIs. Just because it indicates that, okay, this POI is actually has something of value, so to speak, right? As you can see, we aggressively started off to the downside, breaking the previous high lows, obviously chalking bearish there as well and heading into a bearish range in the market, okay? Got this range low, range high. Obviously, the next thing to do is either wait for a pullback into this breaker here or the extreme. Now, I only was anticipating price to pull into the breaker because that's where the imbalance was, right? This is where the momentum was. So price had obviously filled that imbalance, came back down below. It did struggle to close below this low, but you could have even took a short-term long opportunity if you are into, if you have an open neutral bias, like a short-term long. That's more for advanced. That's something I don't recommend for my beginner students, but something that my advanced students can start to incorporate, right? It's something like hedging, things like that. As you can see here, we wicked it. We didn't close below, but we did pull back and take out this internal high low there as well. High, sorry, not internal high low. It's an internal high, and then obviously the price had swept that. Taking out obviously what's remaining behind, and then obviously we've seen a nice shift to the downside again. So I wanted to jump and get involved in this one now, okay? And this is just pre-CPI. Yes, it was a news-driven trade. Obviously, like, the bias was obviously bearish. I was anticipating price to head bearish as well, and for me, a lot of the time, fundamentals are priced already into the charts if you know what you're doing and know what you're looking for. But fundamentally, you could look for, a bearish bias too. But as you can see, right, price had obviously shifted to the downside, pulled back up, filling the imbalance here, and obviously tapping into that supply area there. And obviously the next thing to do from there is to drop to the 1 minute time frame, which is my entry time frame, and that's where I look for the confirmation entry, and I'll show you guys that in a second. But remember, I targeted down into the 4 hour low that you had previously seen on the 4 hour. I took partials off at the edge of low as well, just to pay myself, so to speak. But you will see in a minute anyway, there's literally one big candle, so it's kind of hard to take partials at that low anyways. So we just jump straight down to the 1 minute. As you can see here, okay, we had price to mitigate this 15-minute POI here. This is the first mitigation. Now, in the ideal world, if I was to try and, okay, this is what would be perfect for me, blah, blah, blah type thing, okay, I'd wait for price to break out this high here, inducing to, or going into a new range high, into a bullish range. and then chalk. Unfortunately, we didn't see that. Okay, so what I did was I referred, like I did on the daily, I referred to the internal structure. Okay, because obviously it's a big range. We've got the range high, we've got the range low. Okay, this is a big range. So what I obviously looked to do in this point was wait for a shift like it did here. Took out some structural lows there as well. Then obviously we had to pull back into this M1 POI. Then obviously I looked for the engulfing, which is the ZCFX candle confirmation. And I have done a video on that as well, guys. If you are wondering what the hell that is, go ahead and check out my video. I think it's like how to increase your win rate or candle confirmation, something along the lines of that. So you can go ahead and check that out. But yeah, as you can see here, it's just an internal trade with anticipation to take out the external low, and obviously price end up did. Pretty simple. Again, we shifted to the downside, took out the structural lows there, indicating internally that we're shifting bearish. Then obviously we had the mitigation there, and obviously my entry was off the engulfing, and I just looked to target down to the 4-hour lows, and obviously CPI kicked in, and you know, thank you CPI, and thank God I didn't experience slippage. Now, if I was to give advice to a new trader, I probably wouldn't really recommend trading around news time. Just because it is obviously a lot riskier. But you know, I entered with a smaller position. I didn't experience any slippage. I had a bit of drawdown, is what it is, and it's, you know, it's okay. But as you can see here as well, if in situations like this, if you're ever in, like, you know, you want to take a trade, just have wider stops if you really wanted to. As you can see here, we had the second mitigation. You know, so the supply chain was there. Price had obviously came back up, filled the imbalance here, and obviously tapped into this POI area that I had marked up. And then price had obviously engulfed again, providing a second opportunity just 1 minute before CPI. So if you'd entered that trade, literally a few seconds later, you would have been instantly in profit. No drawdown, straight into the TP. Now I was going to enter that, but it was getting a bit too close to the CPI. So I just thought, you know what, let's just be smart. Let's just stick to the plan. Open 0.5 on the first position, let that run and see how it goes. Obviously with the fundamental bias and the high time bias that I had in mind, it all worked out and it played out and hit TP for just under a 5.4R. So can't really go wrong. Obviously it was a little bit less because I reached 0.5%, and then obviously I took partial at the edge low as well. But guys, it is just a textbook setup in my opinion. With or without the news, the whole aspect and the breakdown of it was still obviously textbook. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Please, if you want to watch this video again, I'd recommend to do so. Just watch it over and over and over. It's like a book. When you read it the second time, you pick up the things that you didn't pick up on the first time. So if you want to watch it again, be my guest. But guys, please make sure you like and subscribe, as it just keeps me wanting to do more videos. And yeah, I'll see you next time, guys. Thank you so much for watching.